All right, let's just jump right in. If you've taken a peek at the real estate numbers for Seattle's Eastside for February 2026, you're probably scratching your head a little. I mean, we've got explosive growth in one city and what looks like a total free fall right next door. How does that even happen? So what is really going on? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to break this whole market report down and turn that confusion into clarity by looking at 5 key areas that tell 5 very, very different stories.
Okay, so right off the bat, this table is kind of confusing, right? Just look at that year-over-year change column. You see Mercer Island down a whopping 37%, but then Kirkland is up almost 32%. I mean, come on, how can two super wealthy neighboring markets be going in completely opposite directions? This is a perfect example of why we have to dig deeper than the headlines. There's a story behind every single one of these numbers. So let's start with the real heavyweights.
So we're kicking things off with the two priciest markets around, Kirkland and West Bellevue. You know, they're always in this kind of tug of war for that top spot on the east side, but this latest report, it shows they are taking wildly different paths. One is just on an absolute tear, and the other, well, it's just trying to hold on. And this slide really lays out the whole fascinating story. Over on the right, you've got West Bellevue. It's still the king of the hill with a median price north of $2 million. But look at that year-over-year change. It's a quiet, kind of stable 3%. Now, look left. At Kirkland, it's nipping at West Bellevue's heels on price, for sure. But its growth, an absolutely explosive 31.9%. Folks, this isn't just a blip. It feels like a fundamental shift is happening.
This number right here, this is the single biggest headline in the entire report. A nearly 32% jump in just 1 year is staggering. And this isn't just because a couple of mansions sold. The report is calling this a structural repricing of the whole Kirkland market. And the reason why is pretty clear. It's the only area with prime commuting access to both the Google campus in Kirkland and Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond. That powerful 1-2 punch is creating a supercharged pool of buyers.
So then you have the flip side of that coin. West Bellevue's major challenge? Yeah, its prices are holding steady, but the number of homes actually selling has plummeted by 41%. Way fewer people are buying homes there. What that suggests is that even though it still wears the crown for most expensive, the demand at that super premium price point is definitely getting a little soft. So you might be asking, how can prices stay high if sales are dropping so much? Well, this quote explains it perfectly. Sellers in West Bellevue aren't caving and lowering their prices. Nope, they're just waiting and waiting. Homes are sitting on the market for an average of 74 days. But there is a real risk to that strategy. If more homes keep getting listed and sales don't pick up, something's gotta give. Okay, let's shift gears from the battle at the very top. Because there are other markets where the real action is happening. These are the areas that are driving the sales volume and building momentum for the entire East Side right now. This is the engine room. And the absolute star of that engine room, no question, it's East Bellevue. Now, at a median price of $1.5 million, it's not exactly cheap. But here's the kicker. It offers a lifestyle and schools that are really similar to its super pricey neighbor, West Bellevue, but for a 25% discount. And buyers have clearly caught on. They are jumping on this value, and they are doing it fast. Homes there are flying off the market in just 34 days. Now, if you're looking for the single most optimistic, most bullish number in this entire report, this is it right here. Pending sales. Those are homes that are under contract but haven't closed yet, are up 32% year over year. This is what the report calls the most bullish signal, because it means all that strong performance we saw in February, it's already baked in for March and April. The momentum is real, and it looks like it's going to keep going. All right, next up, Redmond. And its story can pretty much be summed up in a single word: Microsoft. That connection is what drove a very healthy 17.9% price appreciation. I mean, the company's headquarters provides this incredibly stable, high-income buyer base that's just unmatched anywhere else. So that's Redmond's anchor, but it's also its biggest risk. Any big change in Microsoft's hiring plans or its work-from-home policies is going to hit this market first and probably hardest.
Okay, let's talk about the big mystery of this whole report, Mercer Island. The data here is a fantastic lesson in why you just can't take these market reports at face value. On the surface, it looks like an absolute catastrophe. But is it really?
Just look at that. Down almost 37%. For one of the most exclusive, most desirable communities in the entire state, A number like this is, well, it's almost unbelievable. It's the kind of number that causes panic, and it immediately makes you ask the big question. Seriously, is this the beginning of a market crash on the island? Did something fundamental just change to cause this kind of dramatic drop in value? I mean, based on that last number, you'd certainly think so. But the answer is a very firm no. And the reason? It all comes down to sample size.
And here it is. This is the answer to the whole mystery. That massive 37% price drop, it was based on just 6 home sales. 6. That's it. With a sample size that tiny, all it takes is 1 or 2 lower-priced homes to sell, and the whole median gets thrown way off. Maybe last year a big waterfront place sold, and this year it didn't. And that's pretty much the entire story right there. It's not a market crash, it's just a statistical fluke.
This is why it is so crucial to ignore that big, flashy headline number and look for the real signal instead. And that real signal is this. The average home on Mercer Island sold in just 39 days. That's fast. It tells you that when a home is priced correctly, there are plenty of buyers lined up and ready to go. The market is still very healthy. The data is just a little thin for February.
Okay, so we've taken the puzzle apart piece by piece. We've seen some explosive growth, some quiet stability, a hidden engine room, and even a statistical ghost. So now, let's put it all back together and look ahead. What does all of this mean for the spring season?
This pretty much sums it all up. For Kirkland, the big question is, can this incredible growth keep going? For West Bellevue, you've got to watch for some price softening if that sales volume doesn't pick back up. East Bellevue looks totally poised for continued growth thanks to that pipeline of pending sales. Redmond's fate, as always, is tied to whatever Microsoft does next. And for Mercer Island, who honestly just need more data, but the underlying health of that market looks pretty good.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. We've got these really powerful competing forces at play. You've got the Kirkland story, which is all about being close to 2 tech giants. Then there's the East Bellevue story, which is driven by a smart value proposition. And then you have the unique dynamics of all the other areas. So the big question for the rest of this year is, which of these forces, that premium tech appeal or the hunt for relative value, is going to win out and really set the tone for the entire East Side?